All right, I grew up in the city of Detroit. My parents divorced early, so I was 10 months old when they got divorced. So my mom had to live in the city because that was the only thing we could afford. And people will tell you that you can't find a good role model in the city of Detroit. I was either incredibly lucky or it's bullshit. Because my best friend's dad, now he lived next door to me because when you're a kid, I think proximity creates best friends. But my best friend's dad is the most incredible man that I've ever met. You know, I love the show The Courtship of Eddie's Father, and he was my Bill Bixby. Whenever I needed to know anything, I would go over and I would ask him, and I would say, John, well, actually, I called him by his surname, but I don't want to give that out because he might not want to be part of this. So I'd say, you know, what do you think about this? And what should I? And he would sit down and he would talk to us like we were real people, which was different for me because we usually, you know, there was just chaos in our house. So I really looked up to him, and he was important to me, you know, as a role model. And as I grew up, you know, I'd use him as a moral compass, and I learned a lot of things. And he had this tradition with his kids, and he had 3 boys, and he would take, around their birthday, take them on a day, just him and the child. And I became part of this tradition. Yeah. And you know, in the early 70s, for a black man to take a small, very white child out in the, I'm sure that it was a glorious time for him. He didn't get a Nobel Peace Prize or anything, but I'm sure he deserved it. But we had a blast. So, you know, so I did not keep up with his son. We kind of parted ways, but I still see him to this very day, and he's in his 70s, recently diagnosed with cancer, and so, you know, I'm going to make a trip out to see him again before, hopefully, you know, things go bad. But that's just to set the stage for the story. Now, growing up, like I said, I wanted to be a good person, and, you know, I was invested in the community because he taught me to be invested in the community. So I grew up, and I became a paramedic for the fire department of the city of Detroit. Because this is the way that I thought I could give back the most to the community and be a part of things and help people save lives. So I, you know, young man, I go through the fire academy and do all this stuff, you know. Get out of the academy, get out onto the streets, and get in the firehouse. And I'm totally disheartened by the amount of alcohol abuse, drug abuse, womanizing, things that go on in a firehouse that I just was not expecting. You know, there's the constant smell of weed. You know, middle of the night, you walk into a room and there's 4 guys sitting there watching porn. They're like, you want to watch? Not really, and I'll be sleeping in the other room on my back tonight. Just, please don't wake me. You know, and so I was really disheartened by this, and I'm thinking, I want to quit. I thought I was going to be working with a bunch of heroes, and this really isn't what I expected. And, you know, I looked up to what I thought these people were, and I wanted to be that. I wanted to be a hero. I wanted to go out and save lives. I wanted to help people. So, you know, I struggled with this for a long time, and then I said, you know, I should go talk to John about this. So we go and we sit down, and we have this long heart-to-heart, and I tell him, you know, these things that have happened. I accidentally turned one guy over to his wife. I didn't know that it was his wife. He was in the back room with some other chick. She said, where's Jeff? I said, he's right there. Then they come to me and they go, don't you know, family rules, you can't, you got to cover this guy, and you know, and we don't like you now. Which makes your life very tough in a firehouse. And then there's rules. Family has to leave by 5 p.m. Firehouse girlfriends can't come in till 9. They didn't tell us that in the academy. Sorry. So we talk, and he goes, ultimately it's between you and God, but do you think that having one person who truly cares about their job and is out there working hard is better than you not being out there? It's up to you ultimately. You make the decision. So, you know, we had our long courtship of Eddie's father's talk there, and I went back with, you know, maybe still slightly disheartened, but with a renewed vigor that, you know, I can't control other people. All I can do is worry about me and control myself and give my best to the other people. And
Little old dear.
21 years later, I'm still on the job, still saving lives, hopefully, and still when things get tough, I look back and I remember the conversations that I had with that man, and we all have our flaws, but that does not keep every one of us from being a hero at any given time.